when I first, I did send you this story, which is kind of a little bit of a serious story again, but it's like, I'm kind of starting to freak out, and I'm being serious when I say I'm kind of starting to freak out. Do you remember the funeral home one that I sent you guys last week?
With the dead babies,
yeah. Yeah, like there were 11 infants found in the ceiling.
Yeah.
So now, I guess in Detroit proper and in Michigan, they've started sending out officials, right, to like go to different funeral homes. A funeral home named Perry Funeral Home. So the last one was Cantrell. Perry Funeral Home, remains of 63 infants.
Well, what the heck's going on there?
Now, oh my God.
Another one? This is I thought the same funeral home and they were just finding more in the old crawl space.
No, and I didn't even have a chance to include this one, you guys, before you called me. There's a third in outside of Detroit, not connected to these two.
Makes me wonder what our local funeral home's doing. Dun dun
what
dun.
is going on, people? Wow. Why is this not a huge story everywhere? Why am I having 63 infants, 11 at one place, 2 at another place that I didn't even get a chance to include in the headlines I sent you?
Wow.
And then 60 at this one, and all these funeral homes are unaffiliated with each other.
But why babies?
I don't know.
You know why small children? Is it because they're easier to store? I mean, seriously, all joking aside, is that why they feel that they can do what they're doing because they're not as big?
Well, the way you were describing it last week, as far as how this kind of thing might happen, and I guess it's what their defense was, right? They were saying, yeah, well, we were taking them in for people who couldn't afford, and we were storing them for them with no refrigeration, of course,
in hefty bags.
And I mean, why is this going on all over Detroit? And is it just Detroit?
Sure hope so.
No, the other one was found also in Michigan, but it was 100 miles away from Detroit, and they found more infants in similar storage situations. And this last funeral home, one of the families was suing because they wanted the infant to be given to medical for medical. It died shortly. It was not quite stillborn, but died shortly after birth, which is a horrible, tragic circumstance. And God love these people that were going to donate their daughter's remains to science. And I very much look up to that. Just so you all know, I think it's an amazing thing to do. I am an organ donor. I would like to donate myself once I pass on. But they didn't give the infant to medical science. They threw it in a Tupperware container.
Oh, my good Lord.
Yeah. Along with 60 others.
Wow.
At Perry Funeral Home. So there's Perry and Cantrell, and there's no connection between the two. And there's another funeral home almost 100 miles north of Detroit where they found at least 2.
Well, that sure took the joy out of the room.
I'm sorry, but I'm like,
what I'm
freaked
saying
out.
is this is nuts. I mean, it's just deplorable. It's deplorable. It's horrible. I mean, wow. I mean, I can't wrap my mind. And all these families that their babies have passed on for whatever reason never got the closure either that they needed. I mean, it's beyond just the remains, but also it's a ripple effect. It goes even further. It goes deeper into the community as well. I mean, these infants are people, and they need to be put to rest.
Well, the other thing that's really, I guess, sort of upsetting to me is that they can't be charged with anything like murder, right? Because they didn't kill these children. The children had passed away already, and the conviction, right, for disposing of a body improperly, so desecration of a human corpse, okay, is usually what the statute would be, is in some cases it's a misdemeanor. I mean, this is I mean, some places have up to like maybe 7 years, $8,000 fine, that sort of a thing. But in some places, it's almost nothing at all.
So I'll tell you what, though, 60 counts of it is going to add up.
Yeah, it will.
That's true.
Yeah, it will.
One can only hope. I mean, so far, the only news coming out of Detroit is that they've had their funeral home license pulled. Big deal. Oh my God!
Again,
Who cares?
What stops the smell if they're unrefrigerated? That's you would think that something would give off an odor. Bodies do not, decay and not smell.
You'd absolutely think so. I mean, the only thing I can think is that in certain environments, depending on how dry they are, a body can mummify. And with a body that's stored in a certain way, if not a lot of air is getting into the container, it could mummify rather quickly. It's the only thing I can think. And well, the other thought too is that if people don't know, if you've never been to a morgue, a proper morgue before, I'm not talking a funeral home where you go and you sit in and talk about caskets. I'm talking like the morgue where they process the bodies.
Sure.
The smells there, mostly of chemicals actually, but the smells there are pretty intense anyway. So those chemical smells really, I think, could cover the smell of decay, if that's what you're smelling all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the embalming process.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of that, and there's a lot of fresheners used and everything else. People put the Vicks underneath their nose. I do that if I go in an area like that, just to sort of, so you're not smelling the decay as much because you're already trying to get the smell to go away. But it's unbelievable. So I don't know what's happening in Michigan or Detroit, or I don't know who checks out funeral homes, but my gosh, do I want them to check out every single one of them.
I would hope so. I would hope that there would be, even deeper checks down in other states too.
Absolutely. If I was in a different state
checks.
hearing this, I'd be going in with cadaver sniffing dogs and going, I know you got cadavers in here, but I want to make sure you don't have any that aren't accounted for.
Yeah, we want to make sure there's none of your crawl space, all right? Come on.
Oh, God. So, I had to share that because it's breaking news. And like I said, the third one just came out right before the broadcast.
So, that is horrible. That is absolutely horrible. I mean, thank you for sharing it. And as hard as it is to talk about, it's a real issue. I mean, these bodies are not being taken care of the way they should be. It all comes down to dollar and cents. It all comes down to money. Isn't that?
It does.
That is as sad as anything else. That it's coming down to money.
And the thing that really bothers me too is that the more you erode the public trust in these types of things that happen, the less people feel safe to check that donor box on their driver's license, the less they feel safe to want to give their body to medical science. Like, we wouldn't have a crisis in this country of people dying from preventable things if more people were organ donors, but people are afraid to check that box because, one, of urban legends, but also because of stories like this. And that to me is tragic and unforgivable. One or two people ruin the public trust. That's what you're
very true, and it doesn't take much. I am surprised that they didn't cremate the infants. I really am. These funeral homes.
I agree. It's unbelievable to me. So anyway, if anybody else knows about that, shoot me a line. Tell me what's going on, because I don't understand it.
Yeah, that's insane. That is really, really insane.
Well, if it's really about money, then that's how they should hit them. That's how they get at them. Find them. Buy the body. Find them a lot. Buy the body.
Yeah.
That would take care of it, I would think.
You'd think. I mean, but they already have been shut down, so I feel like they already did the damage that they could do monetarily.
Sure.
But I think they should do some serious prison time. Absolutely.
I would agree.
There's no place for a person like that because, again, you're entrusting them with a loved one. So, horrible. But you know what? I did want to. This is a story in California. I don't usually share stories in California because
you're there.
I'm there, and I want to make sure I don't come in contact with the offender. I think I'll be okay in this case. So when you're in Northern California in particular, there is something out here that a lot of people for Halloween would be really afraid of. I am in Black Widow country.
Oh, you are now?
Oh, big time. Like, I find at least like one a day if I'm outside.
Wow.
Do you mean Scarlett Johansson?
That would be so cool. No, I don't. I run
ScarJo. Bummer.
No.
You're talking about the actual spider that'll kill you with a bite.
Correct. And it is like where I am located, there are black widows everywhere. So if I'm like working outside, it's not uncommon. 3, 4, 5 of them. It happens all the time. They're everywhere. So, but I mean, I'm just used to it at this point. And, well, Henry kills a lot of them. So, I'm like, oh my God, spider, and he kills it. So it's good.
Yeah.
So if I was by myself, though, in a house with a black widow, and I have been, right, I usually find something to dispatch it with love, of course, from.
You squash it, don't you? I love you, squash.
Right. Yes, I do. And I try to also not actually, I don't want to physically touch it with my fingers. You know what I mean? I want there to be like a shoe.
Do you have a designated?
Because, it's poisonous.
You don't have a designated Black Widow beater?
I don't. I try to find the nearest shoe. Okay. The nearest hard-soled shoe is what I go for, right? So that's just, I'm putting it out there, hard-soled shoe. But there was a California man who was house sitting for his parents in Fresno, all right, which is south of me. And he did not go for a shoe. What he did end up going for caused 29 firefighters to respond.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's a response to a spider.
Well, he decided to use a blowtorch.
Oh. Well,
yeah.
That'll work to kill a spider, and it'll destroy your house. But yeah, spider's dead. That's the good news.
It was a 2-alarm blaze. The fire damaged the building's attic and the second story. The use of fire for pest control actually appears to be fairly common. What? Why is that in this article? I'm reading this article going, how is this common? So
I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah, a Kansas woman reportedly was hit with an arson charge after attempting to kill a spider with flaming towels.
Now, did she buy them that way?
So wait, I was gonna say, where do you buy flaming towels? Number one, is there a store called the Flaming Towel Store? And how do you keep them lit?
Flaming towels are us.
Yeah, and how do you keep them lit until you're ready to use them? That'd be hard as well.
I think they freeze them.
They freeze dry them, the flame and all. So she sees the spider. All right, I'm gonna use the flaming towel.
This is the problem-solving steps that you have to go through, though, is what I'm asking. You see the spider. Oh, my God, spider. I need to kill it. Where does the problem-solving go after that?
How does it escalate that quickly to going, I know fire?
Towels catch on fire. I'll throw flaming towels. Well, what?
Wow.
Yeah. He almost burned his parents' house down. And then there was a Cincinnati woman who caused $250,000 worth of damage to an apartment building when she tried to use alcohol and fire.
Well, that will do it too. They do sell insecticide for this job. Where maybe you could.
Do you set it on fire?
No. I would recommend. I mean, you could, but if you're going to do that, use a Zippo lighter. Don't use a normal Bic, by the way, folks. But anyhow, little tip. You guys never made your own flamethrower? Come on, Aquanet days. Lighter, some Aquanet. Eric, I know you did.
I'm more into explosives.
I know you are. But back in the day, when everyone's mother used that 25-gallon bottle of Aquanet, that made a hell of a flamethrower. Let me tell you.
I'm betting it does. See, I know my luck with things like that. I would not try because I know what would happen.
It would be great. It's great. I mean, it's epic. And it goes a long time because it's a huge bottle. So, it really gets out there.
Interesting. Well, maybe that's what he tried. I don't know. It doesn't really say, you just have a flamethrower around the house? It doesn't say how he created.
You know what's funny is it's completely legal to own a flamethrower.
What?
Yeah, you can actually own one. Anyone can own one.
Are you serious?
Dead serious. It's completely legal. You can own one. You can buy one. You can construct one.
I would love to see the person's face
when
I go in and ask for one.
There's no laws saying you cannot own a flamethrower. In fact, a little fun fact, when I was a kid and I grew up in a farming community, they'd burn the field, some people, with a flamethrower.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We used to have controlled burns all the time. I just assumed it wasn't with a flamethrower. But
these guys did that. They're a little nuts, though. Come on. I think grain alcohol was included when they were doing it. But anyhow,
grain alcohol and napalm.
Oh, man. I love the smell of napalm.
You know what? Nobody said if the spider died at night, and all I can imagine is a black widow in his charred rubble going, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. That's how I think that story ended.
Smoking a cigar. Yeah.
With a surfboard.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how that story ends, everyone. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Playing the Trashman in the background. Bird, bird, bird. Bird's the word of a bird.
And there was, I don't want to leave it in California because there's a story out of New Jersey that is kind of gross.
Is this the, this is the thrower man, isn't it? No, that's Florida. Never mind.
No, it's Florida. This guy, and this is very odd. I have to